Keep your head up, you'll be okay. A beautiful day waiting for you. Just open your eyes, you'll see it's true. Good times, sunshine, gonna be here in no time now. Bad times, gray skies, push them all away, turn them upside down. You're gonna break new ground, turn everything around. You're gonna live your life. There's a beautiful day headed your way. Keep your head up, you'll be okay. Beautiful day waiting for you. Just open your eyes, you'll see it's true. A beautiful day.
Welcome back to the Booga Box. Hope everybody's having a great Wednesday. Great week up till Wednesday. We're on Small Project Wednesday, so we're going to be working on a small project tonight. It's actually going to be mine. I've been thinking about it for the last 2 weeks about building myself a bracelet, and so I've just decided to go ahead and do it tonight. But I do want to thank everybody who joins us live, or if you're watching this later, don't forget to give the likes, the thumbs up, the hearts, the little emojis. Get all those out there. Let's see here. We want the top camera. Flip on down to this beast. So I'm working on a flat box weave for myself, like I said. I've done a ton of box weave before, and I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to try a box weave for myself. Why not try the flat one? I haven't actually done it yet, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm still considering and thinking about latches, clasp for myself. This one I just put on there so I had something to grab onto. I've got a couple choices I'm still trying to debate on. Most of these I think are just too big. If these are 16 gauge. If I would have went with like a 14, 12 gauge, I think would have been better for one of these. I just don't think, I think it's either going to be the one that's on there or this one. That's a little bit bigger, but I had them all out and I keep looking at them. I actually wasn't sure what I was going to do today. And then, when was it? About 4 o'clock today. I tried 2 different weaves. One worked halfway decent, and I think if I have to play around with my ring sizes a little bit, I can figure it out. The other one I just couldn't get to work, and then that's when I decided, okay, let's just go ahead and do this. Alright, let me get some rings out here. Stay in your files, man. Using my big old uglies. My medium uglies. I know exactly where they're at out in the shed because I used them out there. And so I decided out. Let's see here. That's right, isn't it? I gotta make sure I know where I'm at here. Where did I stop? Because these were that way. Flip it, then grab it. So I'm using these big old uglies. There's a couple sets I want to get out there. I think it was Joshua, he's got a nice set that I think would work great for. When I get in stainless steel, I have to go with the bigger pliers. My normal ones just won't cut it. If I'm at 18 gauge, it'll be okay, but at 16 gauge here, they work, but I know I'm just going to break them eventually if I keep doing it. So it's like, we just got to do what we got to do here. And one thing I like, my smaller ones, I can open and close them a little easier one-handed. And they're not so oblong than these are, but I had some other ones that I used that I got from Harbor Freight before, and they did okay for a while. I broke a couple, and it was like, well, you know, they're Harbor Freight. I don't expect them to be all that great, so. And I bought some more, and I know where those are too, and I thought about it, and I was like, yeah, you know, I've worked with these before, we'll just make them work again. I need to break down and get them. I got, you know, I tried playing with the parallel pliers a little bit with it, but they're too pointy, I think. If they were as wide as, like, my Tronics at the point, I think they'd be okay, but they're just too thin, I think, for doing stainless in this big of a ring size anyway. So, well, let's see here. I did get what I needed to get done on the laser yesterday. I didn't do any extra that I had worked up that I wanted to. Some more testing. I didn't end up getting into doing it. But I did get all the first 52 DVDs printed. The covers of the DVDs themselves printed up. I already got that ring on there, didn't he? And so I was going to do the other 52 because I got the marching season done. Concert season, before I decided to, I'm on my second graphic of it so far. And I was getting ready to burn it up, and I was just looking at my test burn, or test print, and I just wasn't digging it all that much. And so I decided I'm going to redo it. That's my biggest problem with graphics. Hey Barb, good to see you. Hopefully you weren't sitting around too long. I was jibber jabbering and looking down, working on the stuff here. Hope you're having a good week and a good night. Not too bad here. Always could be better, I guess, but you know. Take what you can get nowadays. But I will be, after I get done, I'm going to build this first, and then I'm going to clean it, give it a tumble, and then I'm going to come through and I'm going to weld them up with this certain weave. I don't have to weld as I go, which I'm kind of glad about in a way. The kind of using up the last of the rings that I got from TRL on my stainless ever since. I've made up my own. And so I've had these sitting around. It's like, well, I need to use them, so let's just use them. Oh, open up. But I figured some of these have got some burrs on them and stuff, and I probably should have tumbled them first. But I was like, I'm going to be welding it. Most of those burrs will disappear on the weld anyway. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to give it a tumble, clean it up, and then come back there and weld it up. We might do that next Wednesday. Might do the welding part of it Wednesday night, maybe. It depends on how the rest of the weekend goes and everything like that. This welder's ready to go. I mean, I could weld this up as I'm going, but like I said, on weaves that are loose enough that I don't have to weld as I go, I'd rather do it that way, because then I clean it up, and when I come back through and do welds, I normally get a little bit, for myself, a little bit better welds myself. Some people might like it the other way, and I'd do it the other way, depending on, like I said, the weave. If it calls for it, I will. Go back over. So I need to make this about 7 3/4. Does tumbling always get rid of the burrs? 99% of the time, if you're using a barrel tumbler, that is more for deburring and cleaning. If you use like a drum tumbler, a barrel, the ones that'll rotate like that. The other ones are the vibrating ones that are kind of more open. Those are more for polishing and cleaning up. But yeah, you know, sometimes depending on how bad the burring is, you know, it can take a while, but these aren't real bad, and like I said, they're small enough that they'd probably just disappear whenever I do the welding on them because they're so small. And all that heat and intense would just kind of melt it into the weld itself, so. But it's kind of one of the things I've been trying here lately. Little different ways of coming about doing my stainless. How I want to clean it, how I want to tumble it, how I want to weld it, if I weld it. If I wasn't going to weld this, I probably would have for sure tumbled the rings beforehand. Just to have them cleaned and ready. So when I'm done, I'm done. But since I know I'm going to be welding it, and I was going to tumble clean it first and see if that helps anything, I was like, no reason in getting these tumbled beforehand anyway. Otherwise, they wouldn't be tumbling, and I'd be working on a different project, probably. More than likely. Kind of digging the flat box weave, though. I've seen it for a while. I just never went and tried it. We're on the real flipping. I think it'll work good for myself. Like I said, I was trying to find something. I don't want it too bulky. I had to take off my other bracelet, though. Last 3 or 4 nights, I've been having a crappy night sleeping. And I haven't been wearing my Track Me watch for my sleeping stuff, so I took it off last night and put this on today to see how things were going. Everything seems pretty normal, but I don't know, I've just been having a 3rd night of just not been able to sleep worth crap. I woke up, yesterday pretty decent enough, and went to bed fairly early for myself last night. Got up fairly early, but again, I just didn't feel like I got sleep for the most part. It's like all those movies and shows where, their mind gets taken over by somebody else or something at night while they're sleeping, and that's how I've kind of felt. Just can't get enough sleep, it seems like. Check everywhere else here real quick. Haven't done so yet. But, yeah, I kind of debated. I had about 3 other weaves I thought about doing for myself, and then that's when I finally was like, yeah, we're just going to go with this. Hadn't done it, like I said. Even though it's a basic box weave, I've done box weave in my sleep, pretty much. And I was like, flat box weave. We'll give it a shot. I was more glad that I actually had some older rings that I could pull out to do it with. I was like, I don't have any that I could coil up my own. That's why I need to get some 14 gauge and 12 gauge wire. Stainless steel, so I can coil up my own. I could have done 16 gauge. I got 16, 18, 20, 22 in stainless. So I can make up any rings in that size I need, but don't have anything thicker yet. Oh, get on through there, didn't I? I will say that since these pliers are bulkier, they're definitely harder on the hands than what I'm used to. I think my Tronics are... I want to get back to JPL 3. I'll actually be doing probably... trying to think here. Probably roughly 4-ish feet of it at a square wire, I think, is what I'm planning on doing. Haven't fully finalized the plan for it yet, but I'll be doing a big old chunk of JPL 3 here pretty soon. I enjoy that weave, though. Took me a little bit to figure out. When I first started trying it, I gave up on it once. I came back to it about 3 months later. Had other things going on. This was years and years and years ago now. Yeah, these are monster pliers. I got medium-sized ones about just like this, but they're out in the shed, and I was like, man, I don't want to go out there and grab them. These will do. I've worked with these before, but that's why I want to get a good set of. I think Joshua DeBerto, he's got a couple set of armor pliers that you put magnets in, and it's beefed up the tips that I really, really, really want to get. I think it'd make working with stainless, anything 16 above, much better with those in a way. But, you know, you work with what you got handy, I guess. It probably would only take me about 10 minutes to go out there and get the other ones, but I was like, you know, there could be something that offsets that 10-minute time. Next thing I know, it's a 30-minute ordeal. And I was like, I don't want to do that. We'll just work with these will do. Like I said, I could use Matronics on these. They do work. They just put a lot of force on them. And I don't really care for it too much. I like to use those more for my aluminum. Silver, copper. They definitely tell the difference when you start working into stainless. It's been probably 2 months since I did something in stainless, so I struggled with it for 4 years. I belonged to a local chainmail group, and so everybody tried several times to show me. Then one day it just clicked. Yeah, that's normally how it always is, you know. You're just sitting there working with it, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, okay, why did this not click before, you know? I've had that happen on several different weaves that I've learned. Most time it wouldn't take me 4 years, though. But I think that's more because it would just drive me nuts. I think the longest I ever took on a weave was probably, hey, I'm trying to think here, maybe 6-7 months. And that was more, I tried working on it at different times for like a month or two, and then I took several months off, and then I came back to it. And that was Morse Rose. For some reason, I just could not figure that thing out the first time when I kept trying, and when I gave up and come back to it, it still took a few tries when I came back to it, but it finally just clicked, and now it's like, oh, okay. I haven't gotten brave enough to try the other JPLs. I've done JPL 5. That's the highest I've gone. I want to do some 7. I think it would be cool. That looks pretty good. I don't know if I would really want to or need to go higher, because then, I mean, you're talking about so many. Harder to sell a piece like that when it takes so much time to build. Though they look cool. They do look cool. Other than, I wasn't, who was that? Was that Simon Mead? Who was doing the JPL donuts a while back? It's been a little while, I believe, but those would be cool. But he was using some, 8 gauge. They were really cool. Get you started on Morse Rose. Yeah. I'll tell you, one of the others that really took me, I stuck at it, and it took me about a month. The first time when I first started getting half Persian 3-in-1. I just, for some reason, I just struggled with that one. But I kept pushing, going, I got to figure this out. It's going to drive me nuts. I got to figure it out. And what finally did it for me was, I should have done it first, was doing half Persian 4-in-1. As soon as I did half Persian 4-in-1, what am I doing here? I didn't put that through the right way. I was like, okay, let me try the 4-in-1. I figured 4-in-1 was going to be harder than 3-in-1, but I did 4-in-1 and it went together so much easier. And then I realized what I was doing wrong with 3-in-1. And so then after that, there was no problem. I didn't put them through. Come on. But yeah, that one for a month, maybe just a little bit more. It drove me nuts because I was like, I want to figure this out. And after all ended up being done, I ended up liking 4-in-1 better than 3-in-1. Michael Ball was making the mini JPL. Yeah, maybe that's who it was. I know it was somebody, I can't remember who it was. It's been a little while since they've been out there, but... And then I know there was somebody that was doing some giant ones, and somebody had some normal sized ones that would have made good pendants and stuff. And that'd be one reason why I'd like to get some odd-shaped, odd-sized rings like that to try some bigger stuff. You know, John stops in here, he does all kinds of crazy stuff with big rings, too. Wish I had a setup where I could coil up giant rings like that. It'd be sweet. I can't complain though. I've got a nice little area for my stuff, so could be worse. But I will say it has taken over the basement through the years. It used to be just, you know, really didn't even have a place for it when I've been doing it for many, many years before the business started. It kind of just started on a little table, and then it grew to a bench, and it grew to 2 benches. Just keeps growing and growing. Come on. Flip over and get in your home. Yeah, I haven't messed with the stainless in a while, so this is getting a little... Oh, I missed that post. Yeah, I wouldn't get back the money it took to make. Oh, and yeah. And there's somebody always out there that's willing, I will say that. And if it's worth it, it's worth it. You know, I get it. Now, you know, seeing stuff out there anymore, you know. It's like some of the lampshades I did. So I know they're going to take a little while to sell. But, you know, some of them are cheaper than the others, but there's a few that are more expensive, but they, you know, took a lot longer, a lot more stuff to them. But, you know, there will be somebody eventually that wants them, so. Plus, I'll just like them because they're cool myself, and I've got a couple in the house that I built for myself anyway, so. And then, and kind of like some of these bigger inlays that I've done, you know, I probably won't ever sell those. If I do, great. If not, you know, not going to hurt my feelings any because I know they're going to be quite expensive, but they're good showing pieces. Get people into the booth to see the smaller things. Just seems like every ring gets harder and harder. It's like, man, do you keep getting from soft to mild to hard strength here? Oh. And you can tell it's been a little while since I've done some stainless, at least this big of stainless. I did some 20 gauge stainless not too long ago. That was probably about a month ago, I guess, but I mean, 20 gauge is pretty simple. Stay in there, drawer. Oh, and I still got many more inches to go here. We're only at about 4.5. Oh. Is that the rings I need here? No, I need the small ones. It's flippy time. I want to try an inlay one day. They're fun. They're a little tedious, but when you get done, the satisfaction when you get done is just like, yeah. Well, like I said, if anybody ever needs any help with trying to get a small inlay even set up, I'm more than willing to help with that because I have fun. There's some work in getting one set up, but once you get it set up and going, it's just the tediousness of working down the lines. But when it's done, that's just the coolest thing, be able to say, I did that, you know. First one I did was kind of small, but it, you know, I think it was, first one I ever did was the music staff note, music staff that I done in 1/4 inch. Came out good. It was good, and then Then I went to 1/8" rings and did a small Punisher one. Even though it was like 10 times the rings of the first one I did, overall piece is smaller because I used 1/8" rings on it. But it was fun. Yeah, especially when you work on it like that. Because they can take a while, you know. I think I had probably about 40-ish hours into the Punisher one. I don't really remember that one. I didn't really calculate a time on. I was making that for my son when he was in the hospital having his, or he wasn't having a transplant then. He was in kidney failure at the time, so we were at the hospital a lot. So I worked on a Punisher and lay there, and just whenever I work on it. So I have no idea. I'm guessing around 40 hours, but I'm not sure. I would need way too much help. Oh, I think you would be surprised once you actually do one that I will say, the first time when I went to do one, I was a little scared because I'd found the music staff out there somewhere. I don't even remember where. And it was just a picture of it, so I had to count out the rings manually and do that, and I did all that. And I was like, man, I hate to buy all these rings. And at the time, I mean, it was kind of small compared to what I've done since, obviously. But once I got into it, I was like, well, this is much simpler than I was thinking it was going to be. And that's why I've done more and more since. You might get the biggest problem with them is you want to make them bigger, which takes a lot longer, which takes a lot more rings. When you have to put in an order for, $600 of rings to make this big old piece. That's a little bit of a bummer, but again, whipped it around. Where are we at even? Haven't looked. 27 minutes in, so we'll get close near getting this done. Definitely takes a lot longer working with stainless. And I do think, like I said, if I had better pliers, if I get some of those, I'm going to have to go look and see if he has any of those in stock. I might just go ahead and buy those. I've been watching them and looking at them for probably 2.5, 3 years now. Seen somebody post about them and went and looked at them. I was like, hey, those would probably work great. And I thought about just trying to get some and doing my own modifications from PRL, but I was like, why not buy them already done? Then I don't have to worry about it. What ring sizes do you use? Yeah, that'd get expensive fast. It depends on what I'm going for. Majority of the time, I use 1/4 inch 16 gauge rings for my inlays and a simple 4-in-1. When you're doing your layout, you kind of have that in your calculations for your stretch. I did my jersey, I did it at a 1/4 inch square. I kind of like the square in a way a little bit better. It's a little bit tighter, less openness in the weave itself. A little more expensive because it's square, a little more heavier because it's square. But I did the Chiefs flag out of square rings, and I loved it. Like I said, when it stretches down and gravity does the stretch on it with square rings on something like that, I thought it looked better myself. Less gappy, and square rings catch the light differently than round rings. So, but depending on what you're doing, like I said, I've done the 6-in-1 with 5/16 inch rings as an inlay. I've done the 1/8 inch rings as an inlay. Done 3/16. 16 gauge, which is actually, that's what this one is. This was my screw up piece, because this one's so tight, if you mess up somewhere up here, the only way to get back to it is to literally pull out every ring to get back to it. You can't. There's no getting in between that because it's a tight weave, 3/16 inch, 16 gauge. I like it though because it is tight. There's really no movement this way or this way. There's a little bit this side to side, but really none up and down. It's a very tight weave. It'd take a while to circle that around it onto itself. But I have another plan of using that size ring on a project. That one I wasn't looking forward to, and I'm not looking forward to the next one because it is so tight, and if you have a screw up, you're just kind of, eh. That's why I have that piece there, because it actually screwed up, and it was going to take me so long to get back to the screw up, I ended up starting the project over again. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, we're just going to start over. I'm glad I did, because I actually did make one minor change to it that I think helped overall anyway, so. So you can make them out of many different sizes. Just depends on what look you're going for, how big you're going for. You know, if you're looking for a bigger piece or a smaller piece. Smaller it is, the less detail you get, obviously. Smaller the rings, the more detail you can get. But you'll use more rings, so there's always that trade-off back and forth. Because when I did my jersey has just over 40,000 rings in it. David's, I think, has a little bit more than that. And another guy, oh man, I wish I could remember his name. He did a green pro football Canadian team up there. And he used 3/16 inch, 18 gauge, I believe. But he was up into the 100,000 range to make the jersey. So, we were going to try to get together one year and have it. We were all going to wear our jerseys and go to a Rough Riders, was that it? Game up there in Canada, and then COVID did all its craziness. And sometime we might still. We were trying to see how many people would get together that had jerseys of anything, hockey, football, whatever it might be. Which would have been cool. Like I said, still might happen. Who knows? I talked with the wife when it originally came up, and she was like, hey, that's not too bad of an idea. Yeah. I've talked to him in private chat there for a while, and it has been a while since I've actually chatted with him. And I don't get to go cruising through the chainmail pages as much as I used to. I still kind of do, but a lot less time now. I mean, it's a good thing, you know, when you're making sales and you're doing a stream and all that, but it does give me a lot less time to get over there and check out what others are doing. I mean, I kind of give them quick skims, but I know if I seen his picture again in there, I'd be like, oh yeah, Dwayne? No, not Dwayne. Oh, it's going to drive me batty now, I know. But yeah, it's turned out really cool. A lot more rings, but, you know, a little more detailed, especially closer up. So I found out what the quarter-inch rings, when I, like my Mahomes portrait inlay that I did. The quarter-inch rings, if you're, the best setting is anywhere from about 7 feet further away. Maybe 6 feet. Well, actually, my table is 6 foot, so I guess in between 5 and 6 foot and further back is the best viewing of it. When you get too close to it, you kind of lose the detail of it. So, but if you go smaller, you get more detail, but it's going to take you a lot longer. Because the 40,000, I think I was at 40,200 now. Because I did extend it a little bit after I completed, when I finished it. After I got done, I came back about 9 months later and gave it, it was probably another another half inch. I'm probably going to add to it again, but and hopefully I don't get too much more around the mid-waist, or I might have to, you know, unseam the sides and add me in an inch into the sides here. We don't want to do that yet, but even though it's only 2 years old, I hit that 50 mark, and boy, like I said, everything went crazy. I'm looking in the group for it and can't find it. The Rough Rider jersey. Yeah, I'm surprised. I know he posted it as a main thing, but I know he's come back on a lot of other jersey posts. After I posted mine and David and stuff, because I know David helped him out to do his. David was a great guy to. He's another one, if you ever have any questions about doing inlays, he's pretty knowledgeable about them. I don't know, I'm sure you've seen David's inlays. Jerseys and shirts and all that. But I reached out to him when I decided to do my jersey. And gave me a lot of helpful information, and I've kind of gone on since then. I'm grateful, but, you know, I didn't want to keep bugging him with stuff, so I did figure it out myself, and had pretty good luck with it, it seems like. If it wasn't for him helping me and explaining some of the things about inlays and sizing and all that stuff, you know. When I first, it was a matter of, I got a hold of him. Within like 2 weeks, we had already had a design down. Within the next 2 weeks, parts were ordered. And yeah, it was crazy kind of how fast it went. And then that was just at the start of COVID, so I had plenty of time to work on it. So pretty much for 39 days, that's pretty much all I did for 39 days. 175 hours, 40,000 rings. Youngest daughter, she's like, yeah, we didn't see you for a month. Yeah. Tweedle. I've asked him several different times on pronouncing his last name, and I'm like, yeah, you're David T. I don't want to attempt to do that. Yeah, I'd like to meet up with him. He was a good guy. I tried to, get him to. We're just reaching out. He was more than willing to help me. I was trying to, get him this, give him that, get him something to eat. No, he was just more than willing to help, and that's kind of like, kind of how I am with chainmail too. If somebody has questions, I'm not going to try to help as much as I can. So he was great. Because if it wasn't for that, I'd probably still never have the jersey as is now. Because honestly, I'd seen all his that he had put up, and I was like, why don't you go through there? There you go. At the time, Chiefs hadn't. We were starting to get a little bit better, but I was like, I've seen all his back in 2018, 2019, somewhere in there. And I was like, man, if Chiefs ever win a Super Bowl, I'm gonna do that. At the time, I was seeing his ring counts and all that, going, oh God. I kind of get a pre-calculation of how much it's going to cost, going, oh, well, I've lived how many years and not seen one, so yeah, if they win, I'll do one. And sure enough, 2019, 2020, they end up going and winning. It was like, well, I got to do it. If I'm going to do it, right now is the best time. Especially I can get away with it a little more from the wife. Hopefully she's not watching tonight. How many years have I rooted and needed it, so I don't, she was more than happy with it too, I think. Had fun doing it. I do want to do a couple more, to be honest with you. it sucked, but I do want to do a couple more. I think that was probably one of the more scariest pieces I've ever done. Yeah, there you go. I guess I was right when I said Dwayne. I think it was because in my head I was going Dwayne with the W instead of UANE. I don't know, it seemed like it might have been right, but yeah. Yeah, okay. I want to make sure it's going the right way. I don't know why I've got a few pre-closed ones in here. Haven't messed with these rings in a while. At least this size. Stainless. Yeah, his was good too. Now he did the got the one of the players he had done to sign a piece of paper, and then he did an inlay of the signature, which is something I want to do myself. I'm like, but since it's been COVID since, and there's really been no times, and I've been to a lot of autograph signings of many different Chiefs players through the years. But the higher profile ones are definitely the harder ones to get to because they're more limited. They're just harder to get into. So I'm going to still try. Eventually, hopefully, maybe I'll get an autograph with Mahomes and then can turn the autograph into an inlay. He also did a Humboldt. Is that how you say that? Humboldt? Broncos inlay that's stunning. Was he the one that did the Broncos one up there then? I wasn't sure if that was David or not. I know David did something big one like that though too, I think. It might have been for somebody else though. I don't know. All the years are, through the years, all the years become melded together. Every time I keep thinking of this, I've been kind of playing around with chainmail for going on about 30 years now. Really never become, it was more like I said, just played with crap wire, split rings, whatever I kind of had laying around that I'd come across. Never dawned on me to go any further. And then about 9 years ago now, decided to go the business route with it. So I have to send you this picture. Cool. It might be one I've seen, but if so, it had probably been a while too. Was it in front of a truck? Okay, no, okay, I'm thinking of a different one then. Come on, mouse, wake up. Yeah. I didn't know that was Dwayne that did that one though. But yeah, now I do remember seeing that picture now too. Yeah, the other one I'm thinking of was, maybe that was one of David's. It was more orange in it and stuff in it. But yeah, that one's cool too. I wonder what size. Probably 1/4 inch on that. Man, that's sweet. Wonder how many rings is in that thing. I think eventually, when I'm done with my Chiefs one, it should be probably about that size, if not a little bit bigger. When I did my pre-measurements on it, I'm looking at about 4 foot by 7.5-ish foot. So, sorry. And definitely well over 100,000 rings in it for sure. Because basically each picture inlay is 20,000 rings, or 14,000 rings. My end zones are 20,000 rings. My top, I'm not quite sure of yet. The only thing that kind of blows, I will say, I wish I could have got it done quicker. One of the players I planned on putting on in the inlay has moved on and no longer a Chief player. But this is all based off the 2020 Super Bowl win. So that's kind of where I was going with it anyway, in case some players left. Plus, one part I'm doing of it is part of something. Well, I don't necessarily want to give that away, but something that changed at the stadium that I'm going to use the old version of instead of the new version of. Also, so like I said, everything was kind of related to the 2020 season. So by the time I'm done, it'll be a little old. And who knows, if we win another Super Bowl, I'll have to start a new one. I don't know if I'd do that because, like I said, this is still going to be a while. I've only got 8 pieces total with a couple smaller pieces in it. And I'm only on piece 3. No, 1, 2. Yeah. But I also have to have the funds to buy all the rings needed. There was a school bus accident a while ago in which several members of the high school football team were killed in the car accident, which is why the inlay was created. I do think I kind of remember that too for some reason. I know I'm sure I probably read the whole thing when it was posted. It's a cool looking piece. It'd be nice to see. I wonder if he ever got it mounted up on something where it hangs by itself free form instead of having to hold it where you get the ripples and whatnot in it. I want to do kind of a large one, like, probably not quite that big, maybe about half that size. I've been wanting to do for my old high school band. I don't know what they would ever necessarily use it for, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool. Like I said, I'm just an old band geek, so if it's band related, music related, I'm into it. Rolled it over. So we got another inch or so. Where are we at here? 45? So yeah, we might get close near finishing this up. I'll put around my wrist and give it a test feel here soon. I kind of dig this flat box weave though. Like I said, I hadn't done it before. Looks simple enough. I mean, it is just basically a box weave. So it's almost like a what do they call that? For years, because before I actually got online and realized there was names for some of these weaves, I always called it a centipede. But man, what is it really called? I still have to remind myself sometimes. I still want to call them some of the old names that I used to call. Some of, like I said, there was weaves that I knew I probably didn't create, but before I really looked and played, when I was just weaving things, trying different things, I think I probably had 8, 9 weaves that I kind of learned without really ever learning, and so I named them something else. And then when I really got into it and started actually realizing that there was names for these weaves and stuff, man, oh, it's gonna drive me nuts now. Whatever the name of that one is what I gotta go. Good night, Rick. Alright, you have a good time, Barb. Thanks for joining in. It's the Bard. She is now leaving the building. It's my Bard. My Bard. Yeah, I misspelled her name several different times on a couple other streams before. So she's now my Bard. And every time I think of a Bard, there was an old Nintendo game called Bard's Tale. It's like an old Renaissance-y style battle game, and you played as a bard. You were the bard, which in this was, you sang the minstrels, the poems, the tales of the trips and whatnot. And so she's my Bard's Tale. Good to have you. Glad you stopped in. Yeah, I think I first started misspelling her name over on Joshua's stream. As first time I did it. And my fingers just didn't like the keys to spell barb. So it was barred. The bard. Well, thank you very much there, Buzzard. You know, we want to talk about that. Everything's proper, what he's done, but yeah. Yeah, I used to play that Bard's Tale all the time back in the old NES days. It might have been the Super Nintendo is where I played it on. I can't quite remember. I don't think it was on the PS1 yet. It was a long time ago. I mean, I still do gaming here and there, but not like I used to in the old days, you know. I still like it, though, today. But I will say, it was, when I was a kid growing up in school, middle school, high school, is when the arcades were the big thing. I don't know how many ungodly amounts of money that arcade got from me through the years. I mean, I would hate to... I could probably still buy a decent used card now with the prices that I spent in arcades growing up. I mean, we'd literally go up to the mall, got done mowing, you know, several lawns, so you're out there with, how does it keep doing that? So I can just flip it back without having to worry about doing that. See, that's still wrong. It's not through the middle of those two. Did I just put it on wrong? Yeah, I mean, we go up there and easily, you know, spend 4 or 5 hours using all of our 30, 40, 50 bucks of mowing money. Playing games. Video games at the arcade. And there was already some gaming out, but once the Super Nintendo came out, the arcade seemed to start going away more. And then when the PlayStation came out, the arcade just disappeared. It's tried to make a comeback. Around here we have, I don't know if they're nationwide or not, but Dave & Buster's. It's like the adult version arcade with food and games. And I went to one once, but I don't know, I just didn't find it appealing to spend $1 to sit down in some type of racing game that you might get 2 minutes out of, you know. I'm used to spending $0.25 and at least getting 5, 7, 10 minutes if you're having a good gaming day, you know, on an arcade game. But yeah, I was like, I just spent $5, played 3 games in 7 minutes. Yeah, this isn't fun. Oh, excuse me. I was like, I'd had more fun going to the casino and dropping in a $5 in a slot machine and walking off. Especially, you know, nowadays these games are cool and everything, don't get me wrong, but you gotta figure them out so the first time you're playing anything new, you're not gonna be good at it. So you're sitting there trying to figure it out, and by the time you're just now starting to figure it out, okay, there's your first $1. So yeah, I've only been there once. And that was enough. It was like, yeah. So, I mean, I still have my gaming systems at home that I play on, but really the only thing I do on it anymore is do some racing. I have, you know, enormous racing, football, golf. That's about all I have on there. Now I'm part of a racing team, so I'm doing a little more racing in a way, but that's pretty much all I do. I mean, I will normally get some family games, so that, you know, when my kids were younger, it helped there. Now we got the grandkids, but they're into these weird games nowadays, boy. I tell you, I don't know if you've ever heard of it. I'm not even sure what it fully is. All I know is they get a kick out of playing it. It's called I Am Toast. And you play as a piece of toast and walk around the kitchen. I'm not sure. Well, I guess you're a piece of bread and you have to get to the toaster or something. There's obstacles in the way as you walk this piece of toast around. I know my son played it at one point in time. Now the grandkids are into it too. They just always want to play this I am toast thing. I'm like, I don't get it. I'm like, but then again, younger kids nowadays, they don't get Space Invaders and Pac-Man. Back in the old arcade days. Let's see how much more we... still got at least probably an inch and a half. Where are we actually at? About 7.5, so that makes about sense. About where I would imagine it to be. Where are we at in time? 54 minutes, so we're not probably... where are we at here? Okay, I need to put those two on. Probably will not finish up during the stream of this, but it wouldn't be finished anyway. Like I said, I'm going to clean it, I'm going to tumble it, and I'm going to weld it. So it's still got a little bit of work to go, but it will get there. It will get there. Like I said, I might try to hold off and do the welding. Maybe we try to do the welding next Wednesday. Need to see if I can get a good setup. Maybe that's what I'll try this weekend. And if I can get a decent enough setup that I can use the cameras with, maybe I'll hold off on doing the welding. I might do a few welds to see if it's going to work in that kind of environment, camera-wise, etc. And do some test recordings. And then if so, maybe we'll hold off on doing the welding until next Wednesday and try to do it up Wednesday night. Though I don't know. It'll probably take over an hour to weld this all up, though. It adds a lot of time to if you're weaving and welding. I do weave and weld when I'm doing like half Persian 4-in-1. I did a wife a fine silver bracelet out of that. And half Persian 4-in-1, you got to weld up as you go. You can do it afterwards, but it's just much easier to do it while you're building it. So like I said, some weaves kind of can lend you to doing it that way. Other weaves, not so much. It's a matter of seeing how much play you've got in there, and how much maneuverability it'll give you. And should be able to set up the welder where I only have to weld once. It just depends on how well it's going to weld on one weld. Does it put too much of a dent in the one side or not? Because I've done one welds before, but I like doing two welds sometimes better. Turn it down a little bit, where you're not penetrating all the way through, but you get less of a dimple, I guess, maybe, on where you're welding at, because it's using so much more power. So that's something I do kind of play around with. So I'll be testing that too. I've got my little chart out. I think I've done this gauge before, but if I remember right, I did do it as a two-spot weld. I do it on one side, then do it on the other side. It gives you full penetration, takes a little bit longer, but I found that my dimples right at the weld mark were a lot less noticeable that way. It's nicer to be able to do it in one, I will say that, but I try to make it as least noticeable as possible. If I can do that, it might, again, like I said, take a little bit longer, but I think in the long run, sometimes it makes it a little bit better. Not always, though. Like I said, it just depends on what you're working with. So, I do want to give a shout out to Sean over at Mailworks. I'm wearing his shirt tonight, his jersey. He does a stream most nights at 9 p.m. Central. So he'll start here shortly after we get done normally. His main business is doing printed apparel, like this shirt and shoes and hats and things like that. But his live stream, he works on chainmail. He's a chainmailer at heart. But you'll need to go over there and check him out. I need to put in a link tonight. I don't do it every night, but I'm trying to do it more often. I like going over there and hanging out and watching his stream after my stream, depending on what's going on that night. Some nights are a little easier to do it than others, obviously, but I like to go over there and hang out. I normally hang out over there a little bit with Barb, too. The Bard. She hangs out over there at his stream, too. And Joshua over at Bracken Mail's talking about he should be able to start doing his stream again here soon, so that'll be kind of good. I kind of like watching both their streams. It's kind of, you know... Well, it was Sean that kind of got me doing my stream because of a referral for the Chiefs flag for Vicky. So that's how this stream become kind of how it is. So a lot of people I need to give shout outs to that have been here along for the ride, helped out in ways, and just try to help out the chainmail community, get more people into doing chainmail. It's fun. It's tedious, but it is fun. So many things. Something you'll never fully get everything, I don't think. I think some of the best chainmailers out there will probably say the same thing. They don't know it all. They know a good chunk, but if anybody says they know it all, I'd be a little iffy on. They say they know a lot, and if they come out and say, but I'll never know it all, that's somebody I'd want to listen to. Makes more sense. So, well, let's see where we at here. We're about there, though. I mean, we're getting pretty darn close. And we should probably be about 8 1/4. 8? Yeah, right about 8 1/4 once I fold those rings back. So, about what I figured we were at. Well, real quick here, I'm going to do a few more minutes and we'll do that, but I want to go ahead and type in. 1, it gives me a break from my hands. And 2, I can go in and put Mailworks link in here for you. There's Mailwork. Go over there, give him a like, give him a share. Don't forget to give us a like and share too. Thumbs up, little happy faces, all those work to help get us out there, let people know we're active, doing stuff, all that good stuff. So, I will work on this tonight to finish it up to the length I want. Actually, if I use that other clasp, I won't need it quite as long because this clasp is quite a bit longer. I don't know. I'm still debating. I kind of like this one in a way. It's about just as wide as the bracelet. This other one's definitely thinner than the bracelet. If I use this one, I don't have to worry about... I can weld all my rings up because on this version, I'd have to... well, I planned on it. It was my last ring. I would weld up at the very end and clean it by hand with the Dremel to clean it up, unlike the rest. But if I do it this way, I can weld it up and not have to worry about doing that because I can just clasp onto both sides. Yeah, it is a toss-up between those two. I will say that. Either way, I'm going to get some play-ish. I mean, this does have a lock on it. That's what this little black thing is. It's a little lock so that these won't open up on you, which is nice. But I've never had these really open up on me before. These are a little looser, but normally when you're pulling tight this way and on a bracelet, you know, it'd be hard for that to even work. This one's definitely a lot tighter on that part, so it'll be harder to get on and off. Too many thinkables, man. And let me see here. I want to make sure I'm going the right way. And this would hook the same way. One way, one the other way. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning more into this one, maybe. Though I do like this one. The only thing that would make this one perfect, I guess, was it swiveled. But this is a nice stainless steel one, too. All these that I pulled out were all stainless steel. I'm kind of on them all of these stainless. Plus, this now does have that plastic in it. Alright, we're just going to stick with this one. We'll just stick with this one. If I need to adjust it, I can pull the ring out if I decide to go the other way before I weld it all up. Got plenty of time to decide that, you know, tomorrow. Alright. Let's just get back doing a few more here. Where are we at? Oh, we're at an hour and 5. So we got close to finishing it. I mean, I could probably put a closer on this side and put it together for show, and then add a little bit more to it. Because, I mean, I guess it'd just be this, and that would basically be it, right? This is going to go on that way. Oh, that kind of actually goes with that watch pretty well. It's about the same size. Maybe I'll wear it with the watch. I don't know. Yeah, just a little too short. So, real quick here, I am going to kind of go through my ending spiel. So, I do want to thank everybody that has joined us and watched us live, or if you come in later and watch us later on Facebook or YouTube, I do thank you. Don't forget to give us likes and shares. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can go check out our website. We got plenty of things there, but if you ever see anything on Facebook that you like that's not on the website, just drop us a line. Like I was saying the other night, I'd say half my customer base is just within PayPal invoicing through people that have found me on Facebook. I can normally give you a little bit better deals here and there on some things through Facebook that I can't do through the website, depending on what's going on. And shipping wise, especially because within the website you have to kind of stick with a certain way of shipping. And when I talk to you, it's easier to get a gauge on what you're looking for. And normally, you know, I try to get shipping as cheap as I can. So don't forget about doing that. Don't forget to check us out over there. We stream on Mondays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, 7:30 p.m. Central Time. So don't forget to come check us out there. Check us out on those nights, on those previously stated social media sites. And I think that's probably about all I need to do for the night. Like I said, I'm working on all kinds of laser etch stuff, so don't forget to check out our laser etch items. What did I do? There. I got a screw up right there. I have to fix that one real quick. I doubled it up. Actually, I won't do it on this one, but it makes me wonder. I'd have to go a little bit larger, but then I could maybe a kinged flat box. Thoughts. Oh, I should have moved over my camera. Thoughts. So, again, thank you all for joining us tonight. I know sometimes I go off in my own little world. Hope you appreciate it. And, again, we'll be back tomorrow night. Tomorrow night we'll be working on our Chiefs end zone inlay. So I'm going to get this fixed up and ready tonight. I'll probably put it in the tumbler tonight. And go ahead and get out the inlay. So I'm hoping I can get me in. I'm hoping for 2 hours tomorrow at the most. I'd like to get in like 4 hours at most, but 2 hours I'd be happy with. An hour I wouldn't be if I get none in. Just shoot me now. So, anyway, you all have a great Wednesday night, rest of tonight, and we will be back tomorrow night, and check us out then. So, peace.